What's up, you lovely people? Oh, that is zoomed in. Hello there. So, I wanted to talk about something that I feel like is very prevalent in my life right now. And as you start getting a little bit deeper into self-improvement as a whole, you'll probably start feeling a little bit more if you're not already feeling this way. This is something I never really experienced in the past for good reason. And so for some of you, it might not be an issue, but it will be. So I think it's very important that we talk about. So the other day, I went to bed and I was telling myself, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go to jujitsu tomorrow morning. It was my day I go to jujitsu, so I'm like, it's what I do, I'm gonna go to jujitsu. I wake up, feeling a little bit sick, but just overall, just beat as a whole. I was just super tired. So, just like any normal human probably would, I turned off my alarm. So I woke up about 3 hours later, got like 9.5 hours of sleep. So my body probably needed it, but just feeling extremely guilty. Because at this point in where I'm at in my journey and how I view myself as a whole, doing stuff that I set my mind to, it's just who I am. There's no such thing as, oh, like today's an off day, I'm not feeling it today, so I'm gonna skip it. That's not me. At this point, I've developed a version of myself that I don't care how I feel. If I set my mind to something, I'm gonna complete it. So when I go against that, I feel down on myself. Where most people, if they didn't do it, they might feel a little bit of guilt, but it's not too big of a deal. But if they do it, then it's amazing, right? They're like, I'm super proud of myself. I just did something that I know is hard, for example, a workout, but I did it anyways. Me, and the point where I'm at and where I've conditioned myself, I don't really feel that pleasure from completing the task because I know no different. It is just who I am to complete that task. So why would I reward myself for something that I've already completed or know I'm going to complete? And that's what I'm running into recently, that I'm having a little bit of trouble about, focusing in on it a lot recently, because that's not how you should live your life. I've always been preaching that it's very important that you just become that person who does that thing with ease. And it has made it so I've been very consistent in a lot of aspects of my life. But that can't take the reward and success out of it, because that makes it something that will become non-important in my life. And the fact that I feel guilt around not doing it, it's weird for me. It's very interesting. So, I'm gonna try and give you what I am currently doing in this given moment and the things that I'm realizing because of this experience. I'm not just gonna sit here and complain and tell you, oh yeah, I didn't go to jiu-jitsu, I feel bad for myself. No, here's what I'm actively doing and how I'm viewing this situation to try and better myself more, so that hopefully if you encounter this situation, you can try and see what I'm currently doing to navigate this. So, first things first, I needed to realize where it was coming from, which is kind of what we just talked about this entire first, couple minutes of this video. Until you can figure out where a problem is coming from, it's going to be impossible to correct it at the root. Sure, you can navigate and try and correct the tiny little situation, but if something is slightly different and something else occurs that is slightly different from that small little situation that you talked yourself through and worked through, then you're gonna just be back at square one. Whenever you're solving a problem, you have to dig down between all of the different layers, keep burying all the way down till you hit bedrock, and bedrock is the root of that problem. So I had to figure out what that was, which I figured out. So then I needed to look inwards in myself and see, what is it about me, the way I view the world, that makes me feel like this? And what I realized is I put a lot of pressure on myself. A lot of that, I believe, is because of some of the stuff I preach online about these mindset things, everything like this. When you're preaching something, whenever I say something, I do not want to say that and have other people do it and it be something that I am not currently doing myself or continuing to live on a daily basis. Otherwise, I'm preaching false information and saying stuff that I'm not even doing. So how am I going to tell you that it's super important that you do this when I'm not even doing it? I haven't tested it for myself or tried it for myself, right? So I've realized that if I'm preaching all of this stuff, I am going to look like an imposter and I'm going to feel like an imposter if I don't do it. I then realized that I often look at myself, find myself looking at other people online, the stuff they're doing, claiming they're doing, and feel like I'm not doing enough given the situation that I'm in. So I see these other people who are waking up and grinding, seems like they're doing it on a daily basis. Who knows if they are or not? So when I don't do that, I feel like I'm levels behind. So what all of this comes down to is basically just a lack of confidence in the situation I'm in and living like the higher version of myself that I want to become. Once I can live like that version of myself fully, it will not matter. And I can be confident that it doesn't matter if I miss a day because it must be for good reason, right? So what I'm currently doing is I'm trying to be extra aware of these things. Whenever I feel guilt about not doing something or being less conscious about some certain things, I fully embrace the emotion. I feel the emotion. I sit in it. I don't try to get rid of it instantly. I'm going to sit in the emotion, really feel it. I think a common misconception a lot of people have is that negative emotions you should never feel. Emotions themselves should only be positive, which I do not believe is the case, because I believe that if you can feel negative emotions fully, embrace those negative emotions fully, you are going to experience the positive emotions a million times better. So I'm trying to live in those moments whenever I feel them. I talk myself through the situation from an outsider's perspective. I look at things as though I'm talking to someone else giving them advice. When you can do this, you remove any of the emotion you have tied to this experience, and you can look at it from a clear mind. So sometimes I'll do it on a spreadsheet or a notepad. I'll write out what I'm feeling at that given moment, which helps me experience that emotion, really dive in deep on what I'm feeling. I talk about why I am feeling that emotion, and then I will talk myself through it from an outsider's perspective. The nice thing about writing it down rather than just doing it in your head, first of all, it forces you to slow down your thinking a little bit and form a lot more concise thoughts. But along with that, it will also act as a resource that you can look back on whenever you are feeling this emotion again. So it's almost like a little cheat sheet. So there's times where I'll go onto that cheat sheet due to something I'm feeling, and I'll see I thought about it a month ago, for example. And it's on that cheat sheet for me to look at, read through that process, and then it feels like even more of an outside person giving me advice on it rather than myself, because this was me a long time ago. I wasn't feeling this exact emotion I was feeling in the moment. I don't have any emotions tied to this. It's just straight up advice. We're really good at giving advice to other people, and we really struggle with taking in advice for ourselves. So learn to remove emotion, view things very concisely, live in the negative emotions, and do a deep dive whenever you are feeling it to see where it is coming from. Be confident in where you're at and live like your higher self. that's all I have today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna get off here, so I hopefully make it to my destination safe. Like, comment, subscribe. I got some good videos coming soon.